Welcome to Take 5. Today, I'd like to reintroduce to you Sean Gallagher, the Director of Centre of New Workforce at Swinburne University of Technology. Sean is going to give us a 5-minute update on hybrid working and the challenges facing organisations. Sean, welcome back.
Thank you.
I wanted to jump right in and ask you, since we spoke last, organisations are still facing challenges around hybrid working. And I wondered if you could provide us with the latest updates that you're seeing.
Great. Thanks again, Karen. And of course, to the TWW audience, it's nice to see you again. In the year since we last spoke, the world has changed several times. Hybrid working has become not just fly-by-night, but increasingly entrenched. And I don't know that there's a board or a senior leadership team around the country that isn't being kept awake at night by seeing how complex this problem is. I want to talk to you a little bit about how we see the complexity of the problem, but also the structure of how we choose to approach it and help organizations solve it. We've published 2 reports, as well as I want to talk to you our approach is in many ways informed by not just the research, but also working with organizations right across the economy, private sector, government, small government, every organization you might think of, and learning from the front line, the challenges that they face. I'm just going to show you 2 slides. I promise it won't be PowerPoint by death. Let me bring it up, and here we go. So I wanted to show you the impact that the pandemic has had on all organizations across the country. On the left-hand side is a healthy organizational network, so bonds between members of teams and bonds between teams across the organization. The impact of remote working has seen the bonds within teams increase because of the type of virtual technologies we use, but at the expense of connections across the organization. This has been pretty good for some types of productivity, particularly individual productivity, but it's been lousy for social capital, for innovation, creativity, culture, well-being, sense of belonging. So remote working has had some benefits, but largely it has had a damaging effect. But let me show you what hybrid is going to look like. Hybrid is going to be far more complex. We can take the best of the office and best of remote, and that doesn't even equal hybrid. Hybrid is going to be the most complex working structure we've ever known. So it's far more complex than just simply sticking and combining the best of the office and best of remote together. There are way more permutations and degrees of freedom. So what I'm going to show you is how can you understand this complex problem and simplify it in a much more structured approach. I can work with you and no doubt others can as well in terms of helping you figure out a hybrid model. But there's one thing that we need to do first. That is, we need to repair the damage that remote working has caused on all of our organizations in 3 particular ways. We've forgotten how to communicate. Our communication, using Teams and Zoom for a lot of things for sharing information is making us less efficient. We've forgotten how to collaborate. Increasingly, we're using what we think are collaborative interactive tools, but we're just coordinating actions. It's not meaningful collaboration. And we've lost the ability to connect. Research is showing that people are not interested in rebuilding their professional networks or even their social networks in organizations. We need to repair this damage first before we actually figure out what is the best hybrid model for the organization. And then we can look at restructuring. How does work get aligned to what works best where? Our research, as well as others elsewhere, shows that certain types of work is best suited for remote, individual, task-based, routine, whereas work that requires the meaningful interaction of humans is better suited for the office. And hybrid is, is a complicated, connection across both of those. And then we need to repurpose the office. Having a hybrid model in itself is not enough. We've had 2.5 years of getting used to remote. We now need to figure out how to make the office work in a hybrid working situation. So how does the office not just be a place for collaboration and creativity? How does it align to your mission? How does it actually drive your business objectives? And then how do you bring it alive? What are the rituals that you do when you bring your team and your colleagues together in the office, and the type of work that you only do when you come into the office? What are those rituals? And then finally, all the way along, we actually need to retrain our leaders and employees. Two areas. How do we work in hybrid? Hybrid won't change our jobs, but it changes how we do them. And then finally, how do we empower people? But this is the result of work for many organizations over 12 plus months. But first of all, we need to repair damage, restructure work, repurpose the office, and retrain everyone to take the best advantage of what hybrid has to offer.
Wow. Thank you, Sean. I mean, that was a recap, obviously, on what we discussed, almost 12 months ago, but you can see the involvement in the thinking. And I love the graphics and the structure that you've given to almost a cheat guide of how organizations can do this. So thank you once again for gracing us with your time and for making that completely simple and bite-sized enough for people to have it in their lunch break and run back.
Great.
So thanks, Sean. It was lovely to see you. Take care.
Likewise. Good luck, everyone. Happy to talk. Bye.
Bye.